Yo, what is going on? Antonio, how you doing? Can you hear me, my friend?
Yes, I'm doing well. How are you, Roy?
Excellent, excellent. So, guys, we're going to go over the Milan news of the day. Antonio, let's get straight into it. Anything new happening in the Milan world?
Yeah, nothing too major, but there are some interesting news sources or news articles that came out. The first player to talk about is Caldara because, as you know, he's not really integral to the team right now. He just came back from Atalanta. And there are news reports saying from Di Marzio and other sources that say that Venezia have made contacts to sign him. So it
Oh,
looks, which makes sense considering that we have Gabbia, Chiara Tomori, Romagnoli, and maybe even Kalulu as center backs. So there's plenty of depth there. So this makes sense if we did get rid of him. There also have been reports from Caldara's agent that say that he's likely to move on. So that's looking like it will happen.
all right. Okay. Okay. Well, I guess that goes for Caldara. We're definitely looking to get rid of him, pretty much. Big wages, and he won't be used much. I think it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, Venezia will probably not be paying too much because they are just promoted to Serie A, so they don't have amazing finances. They're not like a so I mean a decent price to offload him probably.
All right. Okay. Very good. Okay. Let's keep on going.
Okay, the next thing to talk about is this is just I do not want to scare any Milan fans, but the reports came out that Liverpool have tabled an 8 million a year contract to Kessie. Like they,
Liverpool.
yeah,
Oh,
news has come out, but this does not mean that Kessie does not want to resign with us. We're negotiating his contract. This is just noise right now, so just this does not mean that we should be worried. Also, Kessie did score in the Olympics in the first game that Ivory Coast played,
oh,
so he's
nice.
looking good. And it was
Excellent.
not a
Good.
yeah, it was not a penalty too.
And I heard Kalulu had a very bad game, actually.
I didn't see the France game, but I know that they lost to
Yeah.
Mexico.
And one of the
So
goals was 100% Kalulu's fault. But anyway,
oh
I'm
wow,
happy that Kessie is having a good tournament. We kind of knew he was going to have a good tournament anyway. He's one of the best midfielders in the world. And now Liverpool got themselves in the mix. Huh? So we got PSG, now Liverpool.
Ar-
A
Arsenal have always wanted him. I'd say mostly English teams. I don't know if PSG is interested in Kessie, but there's a lot of English teams that are. So
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. What else do you got?
okay, so this is the last piece of like fear for Milan fans, but not really. It's not that big of a deal, but it's just that PSG have reportedly given or offered around 5 million to Theo, which we know. We know that they've been trying to get Theo to maybe just to join them, but that's only if they have to negotiate with the club and management first. And this, however, has led to talks going on to try to raise Teo's current contract with Milan. So obviously he makes around 1 to 1.5 million a season, so very low wages for a player of his quality. So Milan are trying to are they're making plans to raise his contract, which is
Yeah,
good to try
I
to
think
keep him.
that's the right thing to do. Like we can't really have Theo Hernandez be a player with the wages of like a second team player, right? He's one of the main actors in this movie, if you want to call it that, and you got to give him a main actor kind of salary, then it's going to be too easy for teams like PSG to come in and lure him out of Milan if that's not the case. So yeah, good. That's good
Yes,
news actually. That's good news.
yes. Um, and then there, before we get into the better news, the more interesting news, just some ideas that came out today, different reports. One of which that says that Milan could go after Belotti next year because
Okay.
Ibra he will likely retire and Belotti's contract should be either expired or I believe it does expire next season. So that would be a good opportunity. People are saying for Milan to get him. I've already shared my opinions, and obviously you like him as a player, so it's
Yeah, he'd
interesting.
be excellent. He'd be excellent. I think that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense for how things are going on right now. You got Ibra, Giroud, the third striker. Since Milan plays only with one striker usually, the third striker needs to be a youngster. It can't be a third big guy.
Yep. And it's interesting because there are other ideas that say maybe Vlahovic for next season, but we don't know. It depends on what happens. So we don't even know if Ibra will necessarily retire, but people are expecting him to because of his
Yeah,
he's turning 40. So
yeah, absolutely. All right.
okay. And then the other piece of news is just something that I was saying on a couple of previous podcasts, and it was just continued to be confirmed today that there are ideas of getting Ziyech, but it would be late in the Mercato, which would be in August. So I've been saying that he is an opportunity because since Chelsea do not necessarily need him, and they wouldn't mind offloading him, but right now they're asking for 40 million, which is too much. So if there are opportunities late in the Mercato to get him, then Milan can get him. So that is a possibility. So yep, there is news about that.
Yes, and I also heard from other sources, the Tele Lombardia guys, that there's also a Berardi network in this too. So obviously, Pioli has said he wants Berardi, right? These are the voices that have come out. But Berardi is a sought after player from many clubs, including Chelsea. Chelsea is interested in Berardi. So now there is a possibility that if Chelsea buy Berardi, then getting Ziyech might be much easier. Now, obviously, I would love for Milan to get Berardi. That's my number one choice. But Ziyech is a very good player, a player that has played in the Champions League. His stats in the Champions League are really good, actually. His Premier League stats are not good at all, but his Champions League stats are very good.
Yeah, and the fact that Berardi is wanted by Chelsea and other teams, like he's linked with Leicester, Liverpool, now Chelsea. This just shows that he's the really good teams want him, and
Yeah,
I think he would be, like you said, a better signing right now than Ziyech. But Ziyech is also, he also has good quality, so I wouldn't mind having him as well.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Now the other thing, sorry, about Ziyech is we got to remember that if Ziyech comes in, then we have three key players going out for a month. In a month that the calendar shows we're playing against Juve, we're playing against Inter, playing against Roma. We're having huge games during that period in which the AFCON players are going to be out. So, this is something we got to think about if Ziyech comes in. And this is something that I'm sure they're thinking about. Let's really hope that the end of August brings some nice surprises, Berardi being the surprise.
Yes. Okay, so the next piece of news is about Leao. And I'm sure people have heard that there are some negotiations between Milan and Wolves for Leao, and there have been a few reports that say that Wolves may have tabled a 25 million bid plus 3 million bonuses, so 28 total. Um, for him. So we don't know 100% if these numbers are perfectly accurate, but we know that that would be the minimum around that value that we would sell him because we paid around that much. So it wouldn't be a bad deal. Maybe they're hoping to get more, which is a possibility. Leao did have, he didn't have horrible numbers in Serie A. I think he had around 6 or 7 goals this year.
Yes,
So
6 goals and a couple of few assists. Um, well, I don't know what to think about that because if we sell Leao, then we really need a right winger because Leao is going to be central to the team. You would think, that wing it's either Rebic or Leao. Then Hagwe was the third guy that never even got to play. Um, if we sell Leao, and then does that mean Hagwe takes his spot, or do we get another player? So what I don't. That's kind of strange news to me.
yeah, I would think that Hauge is more than likely going to go, from what I've heard. So I would think that if we did sell Leao, but there's no guarantees that we sell him. I think it's only if they get a good deal for him, then they would want to sell him. But if that did happen, then we may buy another left winger. I don't know how good that left winger will be because I'm not sure we can afford to buy a good right winger, left winger, and
Yeah,
attacking
left wing. That's
midfielder.
what I mean. Left wing. Left wing.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I don't know. We have to see what happens. Leao could probably most likely stay with us this year, but just if they get a great offer for him.
Right. 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 Okay. All right. Very good. Let's move on.
Okay, this is interesting player that's been heavily linked with us, and it's looking more and more real. So Kaio Jorge is the player. Basically, updated news suggests that Milan have offered around 5 million, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more. But today, the sources say a little bit less. A few days ago, they said that we could have offered 6 to 7, but it changes every day. And so we are very interested in him. Like we already talked about, his personal terms are agreed, and the player has rejected many other pursuits from other clubs, and so Santos are kind of restricted or trying in where to sell him because he really wants to go to Milan and he would like to leave now in the summer. So that more news is saying that he was pushing for Milan, and that and to be honest with you, I would be I like those players because they're dedicated to the team and they really want to come. He chose us out of compared to other teams like Juventus. So that is the update on him. And also, just an interesting point is since I believe there's limited out of European spots in the team, so that could be a potential issue for, let's say, Milan wanted to sign another Brazilian player like Tete, the right winger from Shakhtar that we talked about. That would, if we signed Kaio Jorge, we would not be able to sign him, but there is a possibility of a loophole in the fact that Kaio Jorge can get a Portuguese citizen or passport, I think. So I don't know exactly how that works, but that's what I've been hearing. So just because we sign him doesn't mean that we can't work around that block in any other way.
Got it. Got it. Well, look, this Kaio George guy, my view on this is, look, he's not that expensive. The guy wants to come to Milan. If he can get this Portuguese citizenship, like, why is Milan trying to lowball this operation? Let's just go for him. Let's get him. I mean, the youngsters in Italy cost 40 million, 30 million. This guy is supposedly a first team player in a Brazilian team. He's a potential Brazilian star. I think Milan should go all in with this guy and just pay whatever, 7 million, 9 million. Pay him 7 million. That's one season salary of Donnarumma last year. Just give them the money. Let's get this player and let's finish the striking. Let's finish the striking force. Ibra, Giroud, Kaio Jorge. We're done.
Yeah, I would agree. The only thing that I'm thinking about is that they're trying to really save as much as possible because if they were to get Vlasic or a right winger, they're gonna have to spend good money for them. So I don't know if they're just trying to be very patient with their transfers. So that could be the cause.
Yeah, which makes sense. And also, guys, we still have Colombo. Rebic can play as that center forward, you know. So the center forward position, okay, I guess that makes sense. We can wait a little bit longer. All right, what else you got?
Okay, so this is great news. Probably the best news of the day. And I think news came out yesterday, but we didn't do it live. So just to talk about it, reports are saying that there's a very, very good chance that Pobega will stay with the team, and that is either on loan to another team, which would likely be a dry loan, so no option to buy, or he actually stays in the with our team now. So I think he's going to be continuously evaluated by Pioli, and this is great news because we if we got rid of him for a very low price now, he could instantly be worth so much more after another season. And he's a great player, so he's showing that he can play for us.
Yeah, that is great news. I did see that piece of news, and that really kind of made me happy a little bit because Pobega, guys, again, we all say it. This guy is going to be winning games with Italy, against Germany, against Spain, against France in the future. He's going to be one of these national heroes for the national team. We see it already. Milan would be making a stupid mistake by selling him right now. So this is great news that Pobega is convincing the management and the coach for him to stay.
Yep, I agree. Um, so now these last pieces of news aren't as exciting, but they're just there. They're just updates on some players. First is Vlasic. So we all know that he's another player who really wants to go to Milan. So basically, Um, he's been pushing the club Moscow to sign him, for to release him and to accept Milan's offer. But Milan they made an offer for him. It isn't exactly what Moscow would like, but Moscow continuously are lowering their requests because of this situation. So that Vlasic wants to come to Milan. Milan did make an offer for him. That's why he is by far the most likely attacking midfielder to come to Milan. But they still have to finalize the deal and still have to make that happen. So they haven't made another bid yet. That's just an update on him. So
Okay.
there's that.
That's very good. We also did a poll yesterday to see which cam player the Milanisti, the Rossonari TV family subscribers will like in that position. And out of 120 votes, Vlasic is on the lead by far. So Vlasic also seems to be a fan favorite. And I like Vlasic. A lot of us like Vlasic. Hopefully this comes to fruition.
Yes, I agree. The next piece of news isn't too exciting, but it was pretty obvious this is going to happen. It's about Colombo because Spal have asked about a loan for Colombo. So we're looking for a young striker right now, and he's a young striker, but he's not ready to necessarily be in the first team.
Yeah,
So
Colombo's still a team.
so it's very likely that he's going to be loaned out again for a whole season. So that is looking likely, but I heard that Milan are still waiting. They have to talk to Colombo first to make sure he's okay with the move to Spal before they can accept it. So there's
Okay.
that.
All right.
Um, yeah,
Yeah, just one thing here before you go. This is what Milan should do. Milan should send out these players like Colombo. Now Pobega is already 22. Okay, so his time is done. But these players like Colombo, he's a teenager, and then these new teenagers that are coming out, send them out on loan for 1, 2, 3 years. Then when they're 21, 22, bring them back in. This is how you do it. This is how you do it. Don't just release them because of no whatever reason. Send them out until they're 21, 22. Remember, in Serie A, 23 is the age. Once you're 23, you're ready to go.
yes. A lot of the best teams have so many players loaned across Europe, so that's always a good strategy. And yeah, Colombo is still very young, so plenty of time to develop. And he is a youth Milan player. He's Italian, so everything that you like, Roy, and just things that UEFA would allow for competitions.
And also another thing to add on Colombo. Colombo is not of age yet for the under 21. The national teams have U15, U16, U17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Colombo should be either in the U19 or U18, but he's already skipped rank and he's already in the U21. This says a lot about the talent of the player. The people, the scouts in Italy watching these players play in the smaller teams, they're seeing talent. So Colombo is a piece to develop and to bring back to the chessboard when he's mature.
Yeah. Um, Okay, the next piece of news is about Luis Alberto because just a little update. It's looking like Lazio now don't mind selling him. So I think Sadi has basically what I'm guessing is that he said that he is not integral to his plans. So he is sellable, which many people believed, but now it's kind of looking more and more like that's true. The only problem is if to become a realistic option, we'd have to be willing to pay a lot of money for him, and Lazio are over evaluating him at around 40 million, which is crazy, 45 million. But this, like I said, if there's a late mercato opportunity, if somehow the Vlasic deal falls apart, um, and he's still available late in the mercato, then maybe there's a chance we get Luis Alberto because of his situation, but still very unlikely. That's just an update about him. So
Now, with this Luis Alberto thing, honestly, Sarri is religiously always religiously has his system 4-3-3. I don't think he's going to keep on doing what Inzaghi did with the 3-5-2 or whatever formation Inzaghi plays. But Sarri is going to go with a 4-3-3. I don't see Luis Alberto in a 4-3-3. Like Luis Alberto is a cam. He's a pure cam. Some people say he could be a mezzala, right? So center right or center left, but I don't see that. And I think that's one of the reasons why Luis Alberto thinks it's time for him to go, because under this coach, you won't get much space. And also, I think Sarri knows that. And there's this thing here. I don't know if you agree or if anyone else agrees. Sarri has asked for Leao. Do you think there's a possibility of Leao Luis Alberto exchange?
I don't. So that's interesting. We know that Sadi appreciates Leao. We don't know how much he appreciates him. And the only way I don't see Lazio spending 30 million on a single player, and if they did, it probably wouldn't be Leao. So if he were to go to Lazio, I think there's a that it would have to be in some sort of swap deal with Luis Alberto. If I don't think Sadi's at the point where he really favors Leao over other players yet. So there's the Mercato. There's still plenty of time, so we have to see what happens. But it looks like I would think that if Sadi really favored Leao and really wanted him, that there could be a straight swap between him and Luis Alberto because I think they should be valued around the same. And Leao's much younger, and Luis Alberto doesn't even have the best statistics. So definitely, I wouldn't spend. I wouldn't if I was Milan management. I wouldn't give away Leao and extra money for Luis Alberto. So I think so. We don't know how much Saudi likes him to answer your question, but we do know that he does appreciate the player, and he does not really appreciate Luis Alberto because of, like you said, the system doesn't fit him. So yes, there is a possibility of that happening, but nothing advanced at all. So.
Okay. All right. What else you got?
So just an update on Dalot. Yesterday or on I believe Tuesday, it was confirmed that Milan are negotiating a new offer for Dalot. So it'd be a loan with option to buy from Manchester United, and there's just continued updates saying that negotiations are still progressing. So that's just an update. Nothing new about any figures has come out yet, but it could be closed soon because negotiations keep progressing.
All right. Yeah. Hopefully that comes to fruition. Dalot is a great player, and he loved Milan. He loved his experience at Milan, and I think everybody really appreciated him at Milan. And then the national team, called him when Cancelo got COVID. So this is another player that people see a lot of potential in him. And so yeah, Milan is doing a good job going after him.
Yeah, I think he's definitely a good backup to Calabria, which this is just a little side piece of news that Calabria has completed a full training session, his first full training session since his surgery in like or at the end of the season. He had a I believe hernia surgery that he had to
Oh,
recover from.
right, right.
So yeah, so he just completed his first training session, his first full training session, and he's looking like he should be good to go for the start of the season. But just in case, it's good to have Dalot as the backup because if not, we have Kalulu, so we don't know what the management really plan on doing.
Yeah. All right. Is there anything else?
There's just a little bit. Ibra, just to talk about him, he looks like he is continuously recovering, and like we said, the goal is to make it for the first game, but everyone is trying to take their time because they don't want to rush him back. And if we do have Giroud and Kaio Jorge, as long as they adapt to the system in Pioli, which I think Giroud definitely will be able to do very quickly because he's experienced and he's likely to play as a single striker. He's big enough and he plays just like we need him to play. So we should be fine against Sampdoria without Ibra, but the more we have, the sooner we get Ibra, the better, because after the first two games we have Lazio and we have Juventus, so we'd like him back for those games.
Okay.
Yeah, there's still about two very small pieces of news. How we talked about Hauge, and he would like to go to Germany. Because to develop there, it's the best. He thinks it's the best league to develop, and there are news reports saying that German teams like Frankfurt are continuously trying to improve their offers. The talks are like around 12 to 15 million right now, so that's what's coming out. So Frankfurt could make a bid of around that much in any day, any of the coming days. So that could happen. It's a very good possibility because right now, those are the teams that are most interested in buying him, and he prefers to go to Germany, like I already said. And there's not really many other links about him in other leagues. So,
well, look, if Milan sell Hagway, then they can't sell Leao, and if they sell both, then obviously they're looking for a right wing. It
left
is
wing, right?
A left wing. Sorry, a left wing, and who knows? Maybe this might bring to Insigne. Insigne the other day, De Laurentiis came out on the papers saying that he has put a price on Insigne. Maldini, I'm sure, will like. If they like Berardi, I'm sure they like Insigne. I mean, who doesn't? Who wouldn't want Insigne? So, if either of these two players, if both of these two players go, that means that they're looking for a big signing. But if Hagway goes, I don't think Leao is going. If Leao goes, I think Hagway might stay.
Okay, looks like Roy got kicked out of the meeting. I'll just talk about my opinion for a bit. I think, I agree with what Roy said. I think there's a very good chance Hauge will leave this summer. And then if that happens, which most likely it will, then we will have just Rebic and Leao in the left wing. But I think that if Hauge were to leave and Milan still received a good offer for Leao, like around 30 million, what would stop them from selling him? And then with that money, they could easily buy Insigne, who's valued at 25 million if he were to leave this summer. So
I do not. I like that a lot. All right, Antonio. Well, listen. Thank you so much for the updates for today. Thank you for so much, guys. This is the Milan news. We're going to do a Milan news. We're going to try and have a Milan news every day, a short live in which we're just going to talk about the news of the day. And then after that, we're going to have our longer lives. We're going to interact with the chat and all of that good stuff. Guys, thank you, everybody, for joining us. Antonio, once again, thank you very much. And tomorrow, guys, we have the Milan Forum. So please join us tomorrow for the Milan Forum open line discussion. You can come in. Anybody is welcome. Everybody can come in and say their piece. So join us for the Milan Forum, 3-hour live coming up tomorrow. Any last words, Antonio?
Thank you for having me back on, and I'm excited to go and visit the forum tomorrow, and hopefully it turns into another Roy versus Milan debate. So that would be fun.
Yes. All right, guys. Everybody, thank you very much. Much appreciated. We might see you again later on. There might be a live later on, but we'll definitely see you tomorrow. See you. Ciao.